And we are live. Welcome back to Strictly Casual. My name is Ryder, and welcome to The Last of Us Episode 2 post-show breakdown review discussion here on the channel. My name is Ryder, if I haven't already said that already. And welcome back to the live streams. For those of you watching the VOD, later on, you can hop in to the live streams every single week after the episode on Sunday nights at around, I'm going to say 7:30 p.m. PST. That is West Coast time. We'll be going live, hopefully me and Vince, every single week, breaking down the episode, giving our thoughts, talking about the comparisons to the game, and little Easter eggs, details that we noticed. But yeah, I just want to go ahead, get right into it, and start off the intro to this week's episode, episode 2. What a different kind of intro that we've gotten from, of course, this is separation from the game, an addition from the game that we have here with the doctor here in Indonesia. I think her name was Ipu. I don't remember her name. Forgive me, I don't remember her name, but we do get some in-depth kind of breakdown on where the fungus kind of started in Indonesia. And there were some theories already last week that the fungus started in this show world in the flour. And we know that Joel and Sarah, they never had flour. They didn't eat flour in their pancakes. They didn't eat flour. They didn't have flour, neither did Tommy. So they didn't get infected at first like everybody else did. But we see that this doctor was taught, she studies cordyceps. She's studied this her whole life. They called her up to study this body. Those of you that seen the episode, of course, know it shows it's a full nude body. So I'm not going to show it here in the video. But we see that she was infected in her ankle and that the fungus has spread all the way to her head and her brain, because as she opens her mouth, the fungus is already, the tendrils are already kind of sticking out of her mouth as she tries to analyze what's going on. She was bitten. So the first person that had it apparently is still out there in the world in this moment in time. They said that they killed the lady, they shot her in the head, and they killed the other people that she bit. And they asked her, what do you do? And of course, the scary part, she says to just bomb the whole city, because she understands there's no cure, there's no, there's no what's it called? There's no medicine for this type of disease. It's not even a disease, it's a fungus. It's like a plant, So even in our real world, I think a fungus that's like on your nail, or fungus that's on the feet sometimes. I think there's ointment to, help it, but there's no ointment. There's nothing to fix fungus, I think, in our world today. So it's possible it could happen. Of course, then we get the intro and we continue on to Joel and Tess kind of freaking out on Ellie. Kind of already, because last we saw she was infected. We know that she's infected. She has a bite. So they're on their toes. They're staying on their toes. We have Tasty Vlogs hopping in, chilling and shocking when she said bomb them. Yeah, it is pretty crazy because, for her to be like, oh, she understands if it spreads, it's going to get out and it's going to, probably affect the brain. She understands what the cordyceps does. So she realizes that, you can't just round up people. You can't shoot them. Just bomb the whole city. Just completely, kill everybody. It's wild. Comic Book Indonesia, welcome back. How you doing, buddy? Hope you're doing well. Anybody in the chat, if you enjoyed the episode, let me know. I want to hear your thoughts on it. This was a wild one. Lots more drama, lots more discussion-based moments, which I enjoyed. And of course, the ending was great, and we'll get into that. But yeah, we see Joel and Ellie here. They're kind of they're on their toes, talking about, is this real? Is the infection? Is it real? Is she immune? Does she really have the cure? Joel, of course, talks about how I don't know if I believe that. He doesn't really believe it. And Tess is on edge, and we get more of kind of the banter of Ellie and Joel, and kind of get to hear more of the personality that Ellie has. Of course, we know her from the game to be really quippy and have this kind of, not sassy, but, she has this quick-tongued personality that makes her so great as a character. So we're getting more of that in this episode, which I love. And not much from Joel, which I think is great. He's very reserved, and he's very held back. There are many moments where Ellie is talking to Joel, and I think she even touches him, and yeah, it could be argued that he doesn't really kind of want it. He thinks that he'll get infected, but I think it's also him. He doesn't want to kind of get attached. He doesn't want to get attached, especially to a little girl, that could kind of open up his heart, right? Comic Book Indonesia says, so happy that I got Indonesian representation in the shows. Yeah, that's right. Well, I was just talking about that. How awesome that apparently she's a really famous actress, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, great moments from her. Just the little bits that we saw from this doctor, the actress that played her. I mean, you could see the gravity, in her eyes and how serious this infection already was to her. So, and that was a couple days before the outbreak happened and before it spread through the United States. So great intro. And of course, great character building, just building up the relationships between Joel and Tess. We get more of kind of like, the quick banter between them. And That's what I love. They're kind of giving an excuse for in the game, you talk to each other through moving, through moments of action stuff. The dialogue is happening between the game, but we get these long walking scenes where we can learn more about, these characters, right? There's conversations of Ellie, how she got infected in the mall. We know from the DLC she got infected with her friend Riley. So that was pretty interesting that she lied about being with her. She said, I was alone, lied to Tess about that. And then, of course, more about who she is as a person and just, great conversations getting into who they are. And then we have more of that with, actually, this moment back here. Oh, did I skip it? Well, of course, I have to point out the buildings. The buildings look so cool because in the game, I think last episode it ended at nighttime where we saw these two buildings. And, of course, we know that they go through those in the video game, but they probably skip through that because they kind of are like, yeah, And we're already moving on to the hotel / the museum scene. Of course, lots of great moments. I think, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, where they talk about the coffee. He kind of tells her about coffee. I don't know if that was this moment. I don't know if they cut that or it's happening. Yeah. So we get to this moment. We have a bit of a one-on-one between Joel and Ellie. And I thought it was great because, get to learn more about each other. And again, he's reserved to Ellie. He doesn't want to tell her who he is as a person. And just more relationship building. We haven't even gotten into it, which is crazy for those of you that haven't played the game. This is just the start of a great relationship that they have over the course of episode, 6, 7, 8, 9, probably, when they go through these crazy moments for them two together. A great moment that I really admired. Tess right here is explaining to Ellie kind of the backstory, a little bit, some details on the infected, on how, this tendrils, they're all connected kind of to a, in the behind the scenes, Craig Mazin said, the fungal wide web. It's like they're all connected to like a, the fungus is all one person. So someone can get touched and a mile away, they get affected because the fungus is it's a giant plant, it's all on the ground. So I thought that was really fascinating, good change. We also hear a great moment. Joel's, looking at Ellie and kind of studying her. And I don't know, he's fascinated by her. I thought it was such a cute moment because it's like, oh, look at him, how he's like staring at her like, I don't know about this girl, kind of questioning whether or not he can trust her, whether or not she's actually, I don't know, like immune or not. Also, again, with who he is about a former father, he doesn't want to get attached to a little girl. So he's just looking at her like, what am I doing? Or I don't know, there's so many things that you can interpret this as, but I just love the moments of him looking at her were so funny. And then, of course, I want to point out, yeah, the fungus, it's crazy because they're all lying on the ground, their faces and everything, they're attached to the plant. And it's creepy. They even get affected by the sunlight, which it's additions to the game that I didn't know about. How well they're changing it for this, which is pretty cool. Yeah, she's a pretty famous actress. Thanks, comic book. That's cool. Yeah, well, I'm happy to hear that about her. But yeah, so it's pretty fascinating that we get more about the fungus. We got it in the intro where the fungus originated, what it acts like, and how they deal with it. Moving on, as they pull up to the museum, you see how the fungus there is dead. It's dead fungus, so they have nothing to worry about. But again, like they freak out because if they step on it or if they affect it or touch it in any way, it can communicate to other people and other infected, miles down the city or somewhere else along to alert, hey, there's fungus here or it's getting hurt there. Protect yourself, right? It's like a giant mother, not a mother earth, like a giant mother, like a mother tree. I guess you guys know what I mean. But yeah, so that was pretty cool. Nice little change there. Again, moving on, the horror of the museum. Those of you that know from the video game, this is kind of the first moments where we get to see the clickers and the runners. Well, that was from the two buildings, actually. My gosh. Emily, welcome back. Oh my gosh, this show was amazing. It is amazing so far, and that's what I want to say too, is about, thanks for hopping in. And also, it's great that everybody gets to experience the show. We're only 2 episodes in, and already it feels like they're laying the groundwork for something that could be potentially one of the best video game adaptations. Lots of great character moments and lots of lines and moments that are being replicated from the game that I'm finding myself laugh at because of how often it happens. And I'm surprised that they do that. Of course, the scary moments, we kind of get inside the museum here and we see Joel and Tess kind of freak out like, oh my gosh, this isn't a runner. These are clickers in here. And of course, Ellie not unsure of what they're talking about. Like, what do you mean? Like, what did this? What do we have to be prepared for? And it's like, there's something else here that we will be introduced to soon. Clickers were terrifying. It's very disturbing how fast they move. Yeah, that too. That's what's great about these. It's kind of like World War Z, where in the game, they're very fast paced. They run towards you. hence the name runners, right? They're not like slow moving zombies. These aren't zombies. These are just normal people that have been affected, that have a plant inside them that are mind controlling them essentially. I mean, great visuals here. We see all these people. They're dead. I think these people are dead here, but they're intertwined with the world of the plant, the fungus. It's in the building, and they're all intertwined and connected to it, which is so. We have that in the game, but to see it in real life is just so terrifying and really gruesome. Essentially, it really is. And then, of course, moving on to the museum, we get the final, the official introduction of a clicker, and I have to say the prosthetics mixed with it almost, I want to say there's a tad CGI on movement. I don't know if that's kind of coming through all the way, but for me, it looks like it is full practical suit, full prosthetic, and they're mixing it with, here's the cool thing that I heard. The original clickers, the voice actors that did the sounds for the clickers in the game are doing it here for the show. So pretty great stuff. Here's a great image of course, one of the clickers right here. Something about the way that they move, I want to say they're doing it and then in post-production speeding it up a little bit. So you can kind of, you're kind of seeing something there, but it looks so good. I mean, such a great honor for the game. It looks exactly like the game, honestly. Comic Book Indonesia says they've done a really great job at capturing every critical event in the game. Absolutely. And I think that's crucial because the script already in the first game was amazing. It's a great script. So I'm glad that they said, hey, let's take this script, let's take out the best lines and just recreate them. Like, there's no need to change or take them out when we understand that the game is already so well written, right? Of course, great little horror moments here too that I love, that in the game there's lots of stealth sections, lots of, jump scares. But for a show that has different pacing, you get to extend out these moments. Joel even finding bullets for his gun, really gets to see the tension of a click kind of stalking them. It adds more gravity to the dangers that these guys have, right? Again, like, that's what's great about this show too, is that every single moment from the game, every piece of dialogue and moment of transition from one set piece to another, you could spend 30 minutes in it because you have 9 episodes and they're each an hour long, right? That's what they're doing here with even the museum scene. It was like, what, 10, 15 minutes in the game? And it's like the whole episode is that. So it's just, I love that we get this because this, like I said last week, is the most definitive version of the story. So yeah, I mean, the game is going to it's going to add stuff in its own way, but I think the story, the show is like, just sit back and take in the story, right? Again, great moments of Joel fighting the clicker and kind of they're running out of ammo. I think that's cool that they showed that because it's like ammo is very scarce in this world, right? Just like in the game, you didn't have a lot of materials, you didn't have a lot of resources, and they show that well in the series. And of course, we see Tess come back and she wasn't infected. Another addition here too that I like, Ellie got infected here again. She got bit right here. And again, it's to kind of show the gravity of, hey, when they get to the moment of spoiler, for this episode, spoilers only for this episode of Tess getting infected, it's to hone in that, look, she is fine, but Tess's infection is way worse. So I like that they did that. It's to help probably the audience feel better, as well as the Joel to feel better. And then of course a great moment here between Tess kind of like realizing, look, we need to get this done. Of course, Joel unsure, and the iconic scene of where I'm trying to scrub through here, where Ellie's crossing the bridge, and it's the same. It's shot for shot of the video game, right? We've seen it before. He asks her, "Is it everything you hope for?" And she says, "Jury's still out, but you can't mind the view, right?" Like it's line for line, beat for beat, even the editing, and the music. I wish I could play you guys the music, but coming from someone who's listened to the soundtrack for years and over a decade now. Well, not over a decade, under a decade. It's great because it sounds exactly the same. The same motifs are there. It's Gustavo Santaolalla. He's doing the same thing. So just great. It's so awesome to see the scenes recreated. And I'm just like, I'm spoiled as a gamer to kind of enjoy this again. And I can't imagine what it's like for someone who hasn't played the game to kind of experience this for the first time. It's very special, So yeah, we get the great moment there, recreation shot of the game, looking out to the Capitol building. They move on to the Capitol building. Emily Keller says, I wonder if maybe the food and the grain infected the people, which is scary because that can happen if a terrorist puts something in the food and grain. That's true. Grain is one of the most essential, product, corn, grain, wheat, right? It's kind of the same thing. They're all so incredibly essential to life on Earth. So if something got in like the flour or the grain, like you said, it could be disastrous. Something that's like fungus where there's no cure, right? Like that could be so bad because it'll spread so fast because everybody uses those type of ingredients in breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? So I just can't imagine. It's scary to think about, but good thing it's only in a series and not in real life. I also like to compliment the visuals of this show, the CGI that they're doing. I want to say, listen, this is me again throwing out my guess of there's a lot of green screen, right? We see things that you have practical, like this building you could tell is practical, but then back here it looks like CGI, of course, right? Because it's not, everything can't be real. But I don't know if they're using green screen or kind of the volume, right? Because the volume does something to the background and the edge of these people where you can kind of tell it's not green screen. I don't know. If it's green screen, we've gotten to a point where it's really good. Because man, oh man, it looks so, I don't know, it looks so real. They really got the lighting right. Because like you see moments like this and you can see the blend of practical with CGI. And I'm just like blown away because I'm like, are they on location? Are they in a set? Right? It's just hard to kind of pick apart what's what nowadays. And so just huge compliments to all the VFX artists that worked on the show because it looks so, high budget, of course, but man, so much care is put into every detail. So we pull up to the Capitol building and a big change from the video game. For those of you that want spoilers for the video game, what happens is when they get to the Capitol, the people that they're supposed to deliver Ellie to are dead and they were killed by Fedra soldiers. But Neil Druckmann in the post show talks about that it feels like they were doing that too much, that they wanted to change the pacing and change up kind of the purpose of what's going on. So they changed it to clickers are going after them. So clickers, they shoot somebody in the head, right, that's already infected. And the great moment is where the little tendrils, the plant gets on their hand and it sends a message out to other clickers a mile away, which was like so crazy to see that. It's definitely a change because we know in the game it's gas, right? But this is more of a living, breathing beast, right? It's a living, breathing monster that's out trying to torment them. So they have to deal with that. And then, of course, again, recreation of the big reveal that Tess was actually infected back at the museum. She says the same line, oops, right? Like, and the drama that they have between them is very sad. Again, Joel has to come to terms with her death and getting out of there in just a split second. And we see that in Pedro Pascal's performance. He has kind of denial, shock, and then just kind of acceptance when Tess is like, you need to take this girl and you just save who you can, right? She gives that great line of like, this is real. Her infection and her immunity is real. And, Tess is like giving all she's got to tell Joel, you gotta take this and move on, right? So I thought that was great. Again, lots of additions. The infected were alerted by that guy. So as they're having their moment, it's so much more tension is because it's not military men going after them. It's the infected are chasing after the building, trying to get at them. And again, just the sadness of them having to go separate ways. And when we leave on them, it's just a focus on Tess. Just like the game, we get to focus on Tess as she has her final moments. But this time, the stakes are higher. We got the gasoline that she dumps and she's trying to set it on fire. And of course, the most horrifying, one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen. The infected goes up almost like Task G Vlogs More in the chat pointed out to me. We were messaging each other about this. The kiss of death, right? As he leans into her and gives her like a kiss, and it's like, putting those things inside her. It was just so horrifying to see. And then of course, sadly, she's able to get the lighter going and blows up the whole place. It just adds more tension, more gravity to her death. And I think it was a great decision on something to change. And I'm looking forward to more of these moments where we see slight changes that better affect this story versus the game story, right? It works differently, right, with video games and the pacing of it. But overall, what a phenomenal episode. Not a lot happened, but we're moving forward in chapters of the game, right? Like this is probably chapter 2, I'd say, in the game, kind of essentially, right? Like the second part. And you can kind of break down, for those of you that played the game, episode 3, moving on to Bill and Frank. We've seen a sneak peek of what's going to happen. and more of their relationship. So I'm excited for you guys to see Bill and Frank, because as Tess's death was heartbreaking, many more characters and moments that we see, there's a lot more sad moments, a lot more shocking stuff. I don't want to spoil too much, but yeah, great stuff between Joel and Tess. Again, more relationship building between Ellie and Joel to kind of, get to know a little more about each other and who they are to each other. And I'm excited to see how their relationship evolves. Excuse me, sorry, it's a chicken parm I had earlier. Anyways, but let me know, guys, in the comments, what was your favorite part? What were details that you noticed from the game that you were able to compare? I found myself quoting a lot of this episode again, and I think that's the most fun part for me, is being able to say, are they going to? And they usually do. They're really trying to honor the game in a very special way, and I'm looking forward to more of the great moments that make this game. I mean, there's a lot of crazy stuff coming, so if you haven't played the game, get ready, because we're about to get into the meat of the story. We're just getting started here. But anybody in chat, again, let me know what moments you enjoyed, moments you pinpointed, what you're looking forward to, theories, because that's what I love. For those of you that haven't played the game, kind of guessing what you think will happen next. But if you're going to watch this video after, we will be live streaming every single week, doing a post-show breakdown. Again, it was just me this week. Next week, we're going to hopefully have Vince return, and it'll be more of a conversation, kind of gushing about the episode, more than me kind of just nagging and talking through the whole show. But again, this is one of my favorite games of all time, one of my favorite stories of all time. I've lived it since I was 14, and not lived it, but I've lived through it. Like, I played it multiple times, and to see this show is like, it warms my heart that all you guys get to enjoy it. So that's it for me. I'm gonna go ahead and end it now. But again, subscribe for more, because we will be covering this every single week, as well as more videos, shorts, and live streams coming to the channel very soon. But thanks everybody for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment your favorite part about the show. We'll see you guys next week here for episode 3 of Last of Us. I've been Ryder, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.